What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Fantasy Stock Exchange here, bringing you the third installment of the Player Prop series I'm currently running on Thrive Fantasy for the Fantasy Stock Exchange YouTube channel. And just going to be going over how we did in week two. And as you can see on the screen, not a great week from us. I'm going to own up to that. Sorry if you guys use these bets, but not a good week. We actually missed on a lot of those player props, but we'll get through the pick 'em later. Did well on that yet again, but just going over the player props. So again, Matt Ryan failed to hit 302.5 passing yards against my Cowboys defense at 271 passing yards. Didn't expect my secondary to be able to, well, I mean, they were working with short fields all day, so not really contain them because they put up 39 points, but get them over under 300 yards based off how he looked in week one against the Seahawks. So take the L there. Derrick Henry got basically shut down by that Jaguars run defense. And I'm currently recording this right after the Thursday night football game. So the Jags run defense is for real. They've looked really good these past 3 weeks. And the history of Derrick Henry absolutely running rampant over the Jaguars run D was not on display last week. We did hit the Josh Allen player prop of 260.5 total yards, 444. I mean, we're recording this after those first 2 weeks, and Josh Allen has played fantastic these first 2 weeks. Clear top 5 or 10 at the minimum MVP candidate. I mean, he's just been excellent. We'll see what happens once the tougher part of his schedule does come to fruition. Again, he is playing the Los Angeles Rams at home this week, but he's looked really good. Looked really improved as both a passer and overall quarterback these past 2 weeks. So kudos to Josh Allen. Talking about Allen Robinson, you can see here, did not record a touchdown. Really disappointing game for him. 9 targets, only 3 receptions for 33 yards. I mean, Trubisky and him just did not have any type of rapport on Sunday. Hopefully that gets fixed this week against the Atlanta Falcons and what should be a pretty high-scoring game overall. Cooper Kupp, of course, half reception lower than the player prop, so miss out there. And it's still a decent game for him, 5 for 81. If you have the chance and somebody's panicking because he hasn't been in the end zone, try to buy low on him. I know this isn't really a fantasy football long season video, but just a little thing to keep note there. Taylor Hilton, I mean, you have the easiest matchup you can ever get, and you put 28 yards on the board, not good enough. These 3 bets here hit here, as you can see, with Ezekiel Elliott, Austin Eckler, and Patrick Mahomes. And then finally, Mark Andrews just disappointing, two catches for 29 yards against the Houston defense. I mean, that was more game script in my opinion overall, but definitely disappointing to see that player prop not hit. So we'll currently get into the contest lobby right here and just set up for this week's. So we'll go to the $5 one if I can find it. $5 Sunday Rush. So we'll be making our picks. I currently actually have them here, as I said, on the sheet. So we'll go through that. But before we go through the picks for this week, going to hit the intro. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to be going through the player props for this week. And the first prop that I actually have here is that Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver from the Cleveland Browns. His current over-under for receiving yards is at 69.5 receiving yards for this week. And I'm actually going to hit the over here. Again, when you're looking at the Washington football team's defense overall, they're a very pass funnel defense. What that means is their front seven is ferocious, gets after the passer in general, limits overall rushing yards. We've seen it the past 2 weeks. Not too much rushing success against them. I mean, we saw the Eagles in week 1 and last week against the Cardinals. I mean, they did a decent job against the run. Overall, yes, I know that Cleveland has a very strong rushing attack, but if it gets stifled to even a certain degree, I fully feel that Odell Beckham Jr. can definitely put up that 69.5 total. And getting 100 points for that is pretty nice. So going to go with the over there for Odell Beckham. I don't expect a ton of volume overall. He's not going to have a 7, 8, 9 catch game based off the overall script of the offense. But if he catches about 4 or 5 passes, he can definitely eclipse that 69.5 total. So I'm going to go with the over there. Next one, I actually have Joe Burrow, quarterback from the Cincinnati Bengals, and his current passing touchdown over-under is at 1.5. And I'm actually be smashing the over here against the Philadelphia Eagles. Similar to the Washington football team, the Eagles are very pass funnel defense because their front are their front four basically has been dominant, but their overall rush defense in general is very strong as opposed to their weak secondary they actually have employed. And when you're talking about Joe Burrow being able to throw basically more than one touchdown, I definitely feel like he can throw for 2 or more in this game. Again, guys like Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, T. Higgins on the outside can definitely contribute. Hopefully Joe Mixon maybe catches one perhaps, but 115 points there, I think that's a pretty safe bet on the road against Philly to cover that 1.5 passing touchdowns for you. Next one I actually have go down. It's Calvin Ridley, the actual wide receiver one in fantasy football right now. Absolutely scorching first couple of weeks for Ridley. He's playing at home against the Chicago Bears at 1 p.m. and his current receiving touchdowns is at 0.5 receiving touchdowns over under. And to me, this is a smash over. I mean, he is on a tear, and I'm currently recording this. Julio Jones is most likely not going to be playing in this game. He's currently doubtful right now. No matter if he plays or not. If he plays, he'll be used more as a decoy. If he does not play, Calvin Ridley is going to be asked to do even more. And the way he's been playing, he's been a top 5 receiver in the NFL. I mean, similar to what we saw from Chris Godwin last year, Calvin Ridley has really developed into one of the best receivers in the NFL. So half a receiving touchdown, I know it's kind of unpredictable in terms of actually being able to allot someone a touchdown. But if Julio Jones is out, he's going to have to carry a load for this offense. And at 120 points for the over, it's just simply a bet I cannot pass up here. The next bet I actually have on Jonathan Taylor. So you can see on the board here, he's currently playing at home against the New York Jets, an abysmal football team. We'll get into that. But his yards from scrimmage is currently at 95.5 total yards, so rushing yards plus receiving yards. And this is the lock. This is a smash over spot for Jonathan Taylor. I mean, the Indianapolis Colts are figuring, I mean, they're 11-point favorites for a reason. They figure to be in a huge positive game script against the Jets, a depleted Jets team that has frankly looked like the worst team in football over these past 2 weeks. At home, Jonathan Taylor, the new workhorse for the Indianapolis Colts, there's just no way he doesn't eclipse that 95.5 over-under total. So definitely smashing the over there for 95 points. The next bet, we currently have my boy Dak Prescott, Dinky Dak, going up against the Seattle Seahawks on the road. And his current over-under is at 2.5 total passing touchdowns plus interceptions. It's over. It's over. That's not just because I'm a homer. I love Dak Prescott. That's not why. The reason, obviously I do, but the reason why is that game in Seattle figures 2 struggling pass defenses going up against 2 MVP candidate type quarterbacks based off the first couple of weeks. Obviously, not going to compare Dak to Russ right now. Russ has been on another planet compared to the rest of the league. But in terms of an overall game flow type game, this is going to be a 45-42 type barn burner in Seattle with 2 struggling defenses and 2 high octane offenses. Yes, Dak may throw a pick, but overall, I just think at 2.5, that's way too low of a total. I think this game is going to be exciting to watch. Don't miss out on this game at 4:25 on Sunday, but definitely going to go with the over there for 100 points for Dak Prescott. The next one is actually same game. We're going to go with Russell Wilson, over 23.5 completions. Yes, I'm excited for the potential of my young secondary, but A, they're all banged up, and B, they're going up against a beast in what is the Seahawks passing offense. I mean, the way they have played overall in this season thus far, week 1 against Atlanta, week 2 against the New England Patriots, that Seattle offense is looking scary. I love Trayvon Diggs. I love Cheeto might not even play. Jordan Lewis, okay. Anthony Brown. But Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, like they are forces, feeders to be reckoned with on the outside there. And it's going to go both ways. It's going to be a high-scoring game both ways, but at 23.5 completions, Russell Wilson's going to be carving up that secondary all day long, an MVP caliber player in his own right. So definitely going with the over there at 110 points. And it's actually crazy that you're going to get more points for the over bet there than the under, because I think that's pretty much a lock at this point, 23.5. So next bet is actually going to be Alvin Kamara. If I can scroll down for you guys, playing on that Sunday night game against the Green Bay Packers. And Alvin Kamara, 103.5 yards from scrimmage. Actually, going to be going with the over here. Yes, I fully understand that the Green Bay Packers are a tough defense. They've played well these first 2 weeks overall. But Alvin Kamara in his own right is a fantastic football player, given that Michael Thomas is scheduled to be out for this game as well. But Alvin Kamara is going to be leaned on in both the rushing and receiving game. Again, he is the clear number one target in the passing offense and the number one running back out of the backfield. So overall, I mean, at 103.5, yes, I understand the Packers are a tough matchup, but Alvin Kamara is a lock given his usage in this offense, given the efficiency he has as a player overall, and given the struggles that Drew Brees has really shown over these first couple weeks. So going to go with Alvin Kamara hitting the over there for 105 points. And talking about Drew Brees, he's right over top, 272.5 passing yards. It's not happening. It's not happening. I mentioned that the Packers have a decent overall defense in general, especially their pass defense, given the edge rush help that they have in the Darius and Preston Smith. They do have not a great secondary, but a decent secondary. I mean, Jair Alexander leading that group. Drew Brees has looked washed these first 2 weeks against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He did not look great. Again, the rushing game and defense really carried that win for the Saints. And we all saw on Monday night that the Las Vegas Raiders absolutely dismantled Drew Brees. 272.5 is way too high of a total given how he's been playing so far. And getting an even 100 points on that bet is a very good play in my opinion. So finally, we're going to be getting, actually two more. We're going to be getting into Cam Newton. So actually the top bet here, 240.5 passing yards. I'm going to go with the under. I know Cam has looked fantastic to start the year. He's been accurate. He's been mobile. He's got a strong arm. We all know that. But if that was total yards, I would understand. But in a game against Vegas at home, I do think that they're going to kind of rely on a rushing attack overall to even out that game for them. I mean, their leading rusher is Cam Newton as well. But talk about overall passing yards at 240.5. I just simply believe that in terms of game script, the Pats are going to be able to jump out to an early lead in this one. Yes, I like the Raiders to be able to maybe cover, have a chance. It's going to be a decently competitive game. But overall, the game plan of the Pats in that game is going to be able to run on the Raiders, as we've seen. Not to mention, I mean, in terms of pass yards, we saw what the Raiders were able to do in both week 1 and week 2, limiting the opposing team's passing yards. Yes, Panthers kind of burned them week 1 a little bit, but I mean, Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, what are you going to do? Absolutely snapped. And that was off of 179-yard bomb from Robbie Anderson to kind of get you over that hump. Yeah, so they limited Drew Brees last week. Cam Newton does have that rushing aspect, so overall being able to rely on him fully for those passing yards, I just don't think he's going to be able to meet that total. And 105 points, I think that is a fair bet to go with the under there. And finally, same game, going to be going with Josh Jacobs. Under 83.5 rushing yards. Again, the Pats defense has looked pretty solid overall. Again, they kind of got carved up at the end of the game against the Seahawks. But, I mean, their rushing defense as a whole has been fantastic. If anything, I mean, we saw week 1, Jordan Howard got absolutely stifled on the ground. Gaskin looked okay, but unlimited touches. Yes, Josh Jacobs is going to get fed overall, but in terms of getting 25, 30 touches like we've seen in these past 2 weeks, I just don't believe that he's going to have the game script to be able to do that. So 83.5 is a pretty big number, and against a really good run defense like the Pats, I do think he goes under there. So, going to segue off this part of the video. So going through those bets, as you see, Odell Beckham over, Joe Burrow over, Calvin Ridley over, Jonathan Taylor over, Dak over, Russell Wilson over, Alvin Kamara over, and then the 3 unders being Drew Brees, Cam Newton, and Josh Jacobs. So talking about my picks against the spread, I'm going to pull up the spreads for you guys on the screen. You can kind of see that. So pretty good record overall for us against the spread for obviously the 4 total picks I make each week. Again, 3 regular picks against the spread with my lock of the week mixed in there. 6-2 so far. So, I mean, give myself a little pat on the back. Those pretty solid numbers for you guys if you're making these bets, helping you guys win those, win money in general. But talking about my bets for this week, my picks against the spread. So the first one, actually all 3 of these ones are going to be the underdogs in their allotted games. It's going to be the Los Angeles Rams at plus 2.5 against the Buffalo Bills. Again, Bills have looked like a fantastic team. But the Rams, the way they're playing right now, both offensively, defensively, Sean McVay's been coaching a good game plan. I saw it firsthand against my Dallas Cowboys. They're playing excellent. Yes, Buffalo has been as well. But as I mentioned, I mean, Buffalo did it against Miami and they did it against the Jets. So, I mean, can't take any credit away from them because they've looked good. But the Rams have shown me that, first of all, against Sunday night against a good Dallas Cowboys football team, they played very well, and they absolutely dismantled the Philadelphia Eagles last week. Oddly enough, my lock of the week, a little pat there, but going to be going with the Los Angeles Rams here, plus 2.5. I just think that overall, in terms of chemistry, in terms of fluidity, both on the back end, their defense has been phenomenal, and it's just going to be too much to actually overcome for the Buffalo Bills. Yes, that Diggs-Allen connection has been fantastic. But now Diggs is going up against a guy like Jalen Ramsey. If he cooks Jalen Ramsey this week, I will admit defeat, and I'll say, well, Stephon Diggs is a top 6 to 8 receiver in fantasy football. But I just don't see it happening because Jalen Ramsey is another specimen in his own right. So give me the Rams to cover in that matchup. Next pick is actually going to be the Cincinnati Bengals at plus 5.5 against the Eagles. Way too big a number for me, in my opinion, given how Philly has been playing, given how Carson Wentz has been playing over these first 2 weeks. The Bengals showed signs of life last week, going on the road against Cleveland, lost by 5 there. Even the week before, we all know that missed field goal by Randy Bullock where he pretended to grab his hamstring because that was the problem. But the Bengals have looked straight up a better football team than the Eagles. So now you're getting 5.5 points for, in my opinion, a team that's been playing much better these first 2 weeks. It's just too much. Again, people are going to bet on the name value of the Eagles. Oh, they won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. They've been a playoff team the last few years. Don't fall for that. Carson Wentz has not been playing like the same player. Yes, it may sound biased because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but in reality, I'm looking at it from an objective point of view. Carson Wentz is leading the league in interceptions. The offensive line is a mess right now. The overall offense cannot drive the ball to save their lives. Give me the Bengals here. It's really a no-brainer for me, in my opinion, at plus 5.5. I was actually close to making this my lock of the week. So talking about the final pick against the spread, if you will, it's actually going to be the Green Bay Packers plus 3 on the road against the Saints. The Packers are underdogs in this game. The 2-0 Packers squad, who's just absolutely obliterated both the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions in back-to-back weeks, is a 3-point underdog to the team that got dismantled by the Raiders on Monday Night Football. Take those points and run. The Packers are winning this game outright. I could show receipts afterwards, like if you're in the Discord or anything. I've bet this game money line straight up, Packers plus 140. To me, the Packers are winning this game. The way that they've been playing on offense, I mean, Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Devontae Adams might not play, so we got to monitor that situation. But on the same side, Drew Brees is going to be without Michael Thomas. So the Packers are just a better football team at this point in the season. Like, yes, we went into the year saying that the Saints were a top 5 team. They looked good week 1. But what we saw from last Monday night, what we've seen from the offense being able to run without Michael Thomas, I just don't trust the Saints right now. And to me, you're getting a better football team and 3 points. Take that. I actually forgot to go with the scores for the first 2 predictions. So for the Packers game right here, I think the Packers actually take this one straight up 24-20 against the New Orleans Saints. The Bengals plus 5.5 away against the Eagles. As I mentioned, the Bengals have been playing like a better football team. So give me the Bengals, honestly, straight up 27-23 over the Eagles. And finally, Rams plus 2.5 against the Buffalo Bills. Give me the Rams winning that one, in my opinion, 23-16. So go through my overall predictions. Actually, all of these underdogs I have winning straight up. So if you can get points with it as well, to me, that's a no-brainer. But for the lock of the week, we're actually going to be mentioning Bush's team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going up against a depleted Broncos offense. I mean, Drew Lock, their quarterback, is out for this game. They're missing their star wide receiver and Courtland Sutton for this game and for the rest of the season. Yes, they had a decent finish to the game against the Steelers, but ultimately now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be able to have a full week to game plan for either Blake Bortles or Jeff Driscoll playing in that game. Buccaneers at -6 on the road. Yes, they're on the road. I get that. -6 is a pretty big overall spread to swallow. But I just think the Bucs are so secure to win by at least a touchdown in this game. Again, they got dismantled week 1. Their offense kind of struggled. Week 2 last week, they really bounced back against the Carolina Panthers. I definitely think that they can keep the momentum going this week. At this -6 spread, it's just not enough, in my opinion. I'll go final score. Tampa Bay Buccaneers scraping this one 30-14. So really recapping the video again, I went through my Thrive Fantasy player props and these last 4 picks against the spread. If you've made it this far, enjoyed the video, make sure you go leave a like, comment down below what your thoughts on the spreads, leave your own predictions in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, you've never seen this before, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're currently closing in on 2,000 subscribers. Thank you guys all the time. And if you don't want to miss out on the daily fantasy football content we provide on Fantasy Stock Exchange, make sure you turn those notifications on. But aside from that, Danny, Thrive Fantasy series that we're running on the channel, gonna sign off. I'll see you guys Sunday night or Sunday morning live stream, and just ready for some football. Ready for Week 3. My Dallas Cowboys going against the Seattle Seahawks. Really good team that's been playing phenomenal these past couple of weeks. Definitely an intriguing game to watch. So, anyways, I'm gonna peace out.